Like what's been on your heart lately?
Has for the church, as in not the body of Christ, not the living body of Christ, but the four walls, has it lost its power, its influence in today's culture, its respect?
Its respect.
Yeah, is it still respected? Where do you think the state of the church is?
Like as is being respected in the world, in a sense?
Yeah, exactly. Like, is it being effective?
I think because of the negative things that has gone on in the world and the church's response to it, it has impacted how I would say it has impacted how the church is perceived in the world. So, like, say for instance, like with everything that's going on right now, like recently we talked about like with Charlie Kirk stuff, and then also with like the political landscape and all this stuff. With that division that happened and took place, and it's like everybody kind of like retreating and going to their own separate corners and everything like that, instead of the church rallying together and say, hey, let's come together, let's have conversations, let's figure this out. Instead, it's more like, oh, well, you're a false prophet, you're a false preacher, this church is bad, that church is bad, I got a list of false preachers and I got a list of good preachers, and don't go to this church and don't go to that church. And it's like,
which literally happened, by the way, not to cut you off, but literally there were people like giving their congregations a list of pastors. It's like it's almost like the church world went into a panic, as if Charlie was
the savior.
Jesus Christ. Like, and I'm sure he was like, man, I didn't know I had that much impact. You know, like when it got to the point where we just sending out lists. I guess if he's important to whoever he's important to, then that's one thing. But I was like, man, I haven't seen that where people printed out a list and said, here are the churches you should go to. Here's what I will say though about Charlie. He definitely put in some work.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Whether people like it or not, especially with Generation Z.
I don't know. I've lost I lost track after my generation. I don't even know what were we, millennials?
Yeah, we're millennials for sure. Yeah, but I want to say like he really was impactful, and honestly, with all races and cultures, like literally throughout the U.S., I'll give him that. After now the dust is settling, and you know the fighting is sort of simmered down, and I see the impact that he left. When it comes to Christ, he really left an imprint.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but yeah, I know like even like just though, like even we had talked about it a little bit like with Jamal Bryant on the last episode and stuff. And so it was a little lady. I ain't gonna disrespect her like that. She's a pastor. She's a woman of God. Had made a video talking about it and everything. And it was funny because I told my wife, I was like, I'm ready. I want to like debunk everything that she said and talk about all that stuff. But she was like, no, don't do it. I should have did it because I just felt it in the moment. I don't feel it right now. But in the moment, I was like, it was just so much. And I think where we are as a body is that I really like the responses from some of the other pastors, like Charlie Dates, and some other pastors and different ones that spoke up, because one thing that she was lacking is the historical reference and the historical reason why we have Black church, and instead of like, isn't it just the church?
Exactly.
And I think that's a larger discussion, because when we look at, and another thing, so she's in Australia, we are in America. So when you don't have that understanding of the historical context, then that can throw things off too. Exactly. But with that being said, when we look at the history of the church and how the church came into fruition, and I think this is a good segue or a good point.
Now you're referring to, of course, going back to slavery.
Going back even pre-slavery.
Okay, so prior to coming to the States?
Yeah. So let's talk about like even like the first church in
the early church.
In the early church. Like Christ has ascended, and he given his charge to the disciples, say, here, establish the church. He he gave that charge to Peter when he said, hey, he told him 3 times, like, hey, do you love me? And Peter said, yeah. And every time he was like, hey, feed my lamb, feed my sheep, take care of this. And so that was Christ giving Peter the instructions to start the early church. Even in Acts, like that's how we see, like with Acts, Christ sends the Comforter, the Holy Spirit, and then they start instituting the entire church from there.
Because really, you know, when I not to cut you off, when I think about that, to simplify that, what occurred, I always go back to Moses' day when his father-in-law Jethro actually noticed that his hands were full, and he tells him,
he told him to delegate.
Yeah, exactly, into those leadership roles per se, but obviously then it's, you know, men and community and basically finding the leaders.
Yeah, but even with that though, like that wasn't church.
No, it wasn't, because
that was more of
community and leadership. Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
that was more
righteous
Moses
living,
leading and delegating his responsibilities
exactly
of leading an actual nation. So if we would look at that from the perspective of leadership, we could either tie that to like presidential leadership, like leading an actual country, a nation of people,
community,
and community, like community
basic
leadership,
community,
like basic community,
right?
And like, because we'll make that. I mean, and it's a good distinction to make with the church too, because even with church leadership, like you should be delegating and you should be handing stuff
I'm
off.
just pointing out that it's the same somewhat blueprint.
I got you.
The scenery changes, right? Because now we're dealing with Jesus Christ and most importantly the Holy Spirit, who's about to establish this through Peter, to your point. But I always break that down from the perspective of throughout history, God has always had a body, realistically. And he just made that distinction once Christ came to bring forth the new covenant. To have that, to really establish the difference. And what was going on. You know, stopping sacrifices, etc., the old way of living. Bringing it into the new way, I don't want to just say saved, but redeemed, way of living, and how to establish order.
And that's the key, because so I don't know. Have you seen the Kurt Franklin and his podcast, the Den of Kings, where he had all the different guys there, Ray J, Kevin on stage?
I did.
NLE and all that. So I had posted a video on my personal page.
I didn't see that.
Of NLE, his part where he was talking about, you know.
That's the young kid, right?
Yeah,
the rapper.
The rapper, where he was breaking down, talking about how he didn't like the fact that we as Christians
reverence Jesus. I've seen that
instead of worshiping God. And there's that disconnect. And then even with that, like Jonathan Majors turned around and was like, you know, have you read the Bible?
Have you read it?
Man, he said, I've read it so many, this and he was like, read it again. And
so, he kind of was being patient with him throughout that interview. And I still did think he did it kind of respectfully, but straight to the point.
Too. But it was straight to the point. And it was, to me, it was hilarious.
It was like, for me, because that kind of is the best thing to keep it rolling. Like, hey, if you're really, you need to go read that again if that's what you interpreted. Because it's just gonna, if you read the Bible, then it comes down to a basic
understanding
of do you believe or not.
But the thing is, because with that post, it set off a ton of conversation.
That's right,
Because when you talk about that stuff, it's gonna attract the weirdos, and it's going to attract the ones who like really believe and don't believe.
That's right.
So one guy in particular, like he was like in the comments, he was trying to bait me into a conversation. I should have showed you all that stuff. I might even show you right now. Like he was trying to bait me into a conversation. I'm like, I'm not doing it because
like come on.
And I say this respectfully, and I say this boldly too. I don't go back and forth with reprobates. Like I don't debate. I don't do that. Because one, when a person is a reprobate, they already had their mind made up.
That's right.
They're not curious.
You're more than likely not going to change their perspective.
Exactly. There's nothing that you can say
not that
to
day
change.
Anyway.
Right. Maybe you can plant a seed. Maybe you could do
exactly.
But their mind is 100% made up.
Like you're looking for a fight.
Right. Pretty much. And that's what this guy was doing. Like he's looking for a fight. I'm not about to fight scripture and all this stuff because you're throwing out like what does Deuteronomy 3 and this and other stuff. When people do that, they already have their own like blueprint on how they're going to attack you. And it's not to say like, I'm ill-equipped. No, I know what the scripture says. I know.
I just don't want to waste the energy.
Right. Yeah. I don't have the time or the energy to try
Jesus
to do all
said
of this.
Right there he wasn't God.
Right. Yeah. Because the thing is, I know it really pissed him off because like I blatantly said, because you know what, talk about some Jesus lied and this, that, and the other, and I was like, okay. And then calling Jesus the character, I'm like, and he was like, this Jesus character came out of nowhere. I'm like, okay, so you are dabbling in deception. And I told him straight, I was like, your deception is going to lead you to hell. And that's that. Like, and he got mad at that. And I was like, see, you just like all the other Christians. Like, instead of trying to have a conversation, you quit to judge. And I was like, it's not judging.
That's not judging.
That's being accurate and depicting the situation.
And those are some of the signs when you're dealing with people who are trying to bait you. They always throw judging. And it's like, well, really, if anything, we're debating.
That's it.
I'm not judging.
Or we're having a conversation. Like, I don't mind having a conversation.
Yeah.
And being like thorough and we can have a conversation. But if you're going to ignore the blatant fact that Jesus Christ even existed, when we look at it, you can look outside of the Bible and see that Jesus Christ existed.
That's where
so many sources.
I'm with you on that. Like when you come to me and tell me that he's a fake fictional character,
exactly,
you're not even in the ball game.
You're not.
We don't even need to speak.
We don't need to speak.
Now you don't have to agree that he's the Son of God. Okay, right? But to say that he did not walk the earth is absurd to me.
Right.
Yeah,
but no reason to have a conversation.
But you believe that Abraham Lincoln and George Washington did.
And you've never seen
if you've never seen them either, so I'm with you on that. That's sort of my rule of thumb.
I mean, even Martin Luther King,
at this point,
historical figures that are within our century, our current century.
But realistically, he's closer, so we can understand that. Mm-hmm. But again, once we're going back, 100 years or more, then it's all fair game at this point.
It's all fair game.
Yeah, nobody alive seen George Washington.
Right.
No one today who's walking and talking on the earth that is normal or human being nevertheless have seen him. So
but there's so much evidence,
historical evidence that he was here.
That he was here.
That's all.
You got his document, you got his signature, you got his imprint, you got these pictures, you got all of these things.
Right.
And the same with Jesus. Now we can debate all day long, the color of Jesus, all this stuff, everything like that. Yeah. I'm not getting into all that stuff because that is.
Well, once you really have a relationship with God and understand who the Son, that Jesus is the Son of God,
that's what
you really throws that stuff. That all of that stuff get thrown out the window.
And that's why I really don't even care to have those type of conversations because, another point, we went to Access 2019 Access in Atlanta about a couple weeks ago, earlier in this month, and it was beautiful, man. It was perfect. It was just like we. First of all, we had to get out there super early.
We had to roll out.
We had to get out there super early. And when we got there, we had, went with some of the people from our church. And so they were out there early and they hit me up. It was like, hey, you need to get out here now. So when they hit me up, it was like 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning. And so, the thing didn't start till about 3 o'clock, or they didn't open the doors till 3. Things didn't start.
Yeah, that's how early you had to be there.
Yeah. And so he hit me. It was like, you need to get out there. Like we came out, we went out there. And so being out there, being amongst like all the saints and the different ones, people of God that had same mindset, same heart. It was just beautiful because we were all looking out for each other. Like people were like passing out and people were like, hovering around praying and doing all this stuff. They said it was like one person that got arrested, right? It was like one person got for trying to get in and all that stuff. You're going to have one crazy, but like everybody else was together. It was like everybody was on the same page.
Like you felt the unity. Like
it was so much unity. And it was like all cultures. Everybody. Everybody was on the same page.
That's dope. Yeah, that's very dope.
Then comes the Black Hebrew Israelites. Like it was hundreds of them lined up.
They were deep too.
They were deep.
And
you seen it, right?
They were coming
deep.
like
they did like a whole march and chant around the arena and stuff. And even with that, it was interesting because like I followed them the whole time and all that stuff, and because it was just wild to me that here you are, have a gathering of the saints just coming together to just pray. Like it was no fanfare, it was no craziness. We just came to pray.
It's almost as if they were waiting for that opportunity.
They were, because you knew that there were going to be
hundreds
tens of thousands of people out there. And you knew that was going to be the perfect opportunity to sow discord. Right. And so to me, it was like when they came in and all that stuff went down with them, because I was telling people straight up, it was like, don't be intimidated by these dudes. Like They just trying to intimidate us. That's all it is.
Don't even get into those little
Right. Don't even get into. Just
I've seen
focused.
a couple people getting into something with them, and it's they'll.
And we kind of did.
They'll
like,
bait you.
Yeah. And we kind of did. Like me and the guy that I was with.
But they'll say something just to make you
because they're trying to bait you.
That's what they do. They're trained to do that.
Exactly.
You're on your minding your business going to buy milk, and they right there like. Trying to pull you in.
Trying to pull you in.
Exactly.
And I ain't given to that. Like we had a conversation with a lady that was out there, and she made a very good point.
Right.
But she wasn't seeing my point because she was saying, how stronger would it be if we were all together? I was like, you're right. It would be very strong if we were all together, unified in thought. But the problem is. We're not unified.
That's right.
In theology.
It's not. Yeah,
like,
you got to remember.
It's just not.
For them, first you got to do skin complexion, then you got to have a beard.
Right.
I barely make the cut.
I'm a prime candidate. I'm in there.
I'm in there too. They told me. But you, it's like, oh yeah.
He's in. He's one of us.
Like you in there. Then I'm just saying. I bring up the beard situation and know that it gets deeper as far as the layers of that, and they have somewhat, doctrine and what they believe to be fact to prove these points.
Yeah.
So coming together on one accord with them,
it's not going to happen.
It's not possible. You're going to have half of those people got to leave. I mean, you got to get out the door.
Yeah. And that's the thing I was explaining to her because I was telling her, I was like, look, I've had conversations after conversations. I've even had debates with people on that side, Black Hebrew Israelites. And every single time it always ended the same way. No edification.
Yeah.
Nobody grows from that. That's honestly one of the reasons why I got out of like debating the Bible and stuff like that, because it's like
I do have some. I do want to say this. I do have a few Israelite brothers that I'll sit down and have a conversation with and dialogue and debate with. Those very few that I have, a few of them I grew up with, and they've taken a belief in that. You know what I mean? And they're serious, and they're serious. And we could have a conversation, but there's an understanding where, well, at the back of a Hebrew Israelite mind, they always converting you. Yeah. I'm gonna just be real. Like, no matter who it is, that's their goal. Me, I like talking. And I like hearing different perspectives and everything. Yeah. But that's just because I truly just, I'm one that I'm a historian and like to learn. I like to learn. So I could throw all that out and not try to convert you, etc.
Exactly.
But generally they're still like, even my boys, they're like, nah, you need to come over here, man.
Yeah. Because the thing is, they're trying to prove a point just as much as we're trying to prove a point.
Right.
And no matter how much we go back and forth, and it's not like to say like, oh, that's just dismissing that, but it's like no matter how much we go back and forth, there's really no true edification that comes out of it because they're stuck in their ways.
Yeah, exactly.
We're stuck in our ways, and that's just that.
They're doing more of the converting.
Yeah.
And to me, when you're so stuck on converting anybody, you're really blinding that individual of the truth. I don't care who you are. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm talking about even on a regular basis on a Sunday. If your main goal is to convert, first of all, I don't believe that we can do the converting anyway.
Right.
Even when you think you can. Now you can sow the seed, one man water, one more plant water, etc. That I'm not taking away, and I do have that belief. However, Jesus made it clear that he only gets who his Father gives to him. Yeah. So ultimately, it's not up to us who's saved. Yeah. That's what's my belief. I think the gospel is put out there for everyone who wants to believe and can attempt to believe, but you're not really going to truly have somebody who's converted. Yeah. Really truly converted that happens because of, the will of man per se. Yeah. And I think that they more so believe that, I don't necessarily know I don't want to say that they believe that they're converting someone or can get someone quote unquote saved, but I do believe that they feel like they can wake you up to the truth. Yeah. That's their goal. Yeah, exactly. Is to wake you up to the truth. Yeah, exactly. And to wake you up to, which is not really the truth. It's just twisted scriptures and things like that they've, tried to fit their narrative. But it's just waking people up to that understanding because, like, I remember when they first kind of hit the scene up here in this area, it was like in the early 2010s,
2010s, like 2010 to that era.
I would say so too. Yeah.
Like when they came onto the scene. When they came onto the scene, like I was with a lot of the stuff they were saying in the beginning but at the same time, I didn't know that they were actually Hebrew Israelites.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's how they kind of draw you in.
Right. And there is some truth.
There's some truth because there's some truth to the stuff that they're saying.
That's right. Yeah.
But one of the things that I would say that caught my attention and let me know, okay, this is different. This is not the same gospel. Is when they pretty much lined everything up with the lost tribe of Israel to being the blacks from the transatlantic slave trade.
Right.
So they lined all of that up to pretty much saying, okay, this is us in the Bible.
Yeah.
And this is who we are. We're the lost tribe of Israel. And so it's just when you make that distinction and you understand, okay, that's not in it. That's not in here. Then you got to make a decision at that point.
Yeah, because even if we do believe that the African American is the lost tribe, that still would be a belief,
right?
By faith, right. You know what I mean? If that's what you believe, because there is no. Well, again, they're scattered.
Yeah, I mean, we're scattered.
We're scattered. So, so if there is any truth to it, then that is something that God would have to tell you individually. Yeah. I do believe that the Black African American race is the latest race on the planet. I do tell people, like us, meaning us as Black African Americans, we're like the newest race. And I say that because obviously going back throughout history, not only were we taken from different tribes and different places from the motherland, but we also commingle with one another. And that's a big deal when you go back from where we're actually from. We're all from different tribes.
Exactly.
East Indian, East Africans, West Africans, etc., where you breed that together, not to mention the inbreeding that white people did with black people. You're looking at a whole new race. This is a whole new race.
Different type of people.
The idea that God can bring a tribe back together like the word says. We know that. But to disregard the engrafting of the uncircumcised is ludicrous to me. I'm just be honest with you. And I don't want to hear, it's just hard for me because again, there's some things that are very practical in the word of God. And that practical part is what's written. That
you can't change it.
You can't change it.
You can't change it. You
to
can't
fit
twist
your narrative
at all.
It just is what it is. Because I'm a believer that everything in the Bible is true, but everything that's true is not in the Bible.
Right.
I'll tell anybody that. It's common sense. The Bible has doesn't say anything about TikTok.
Right.
It just doesn't. I'm just giving a simple example, but the Bible does have situations. Or how should I put it? Situations. The Bible does have situations that you can apply to your everyday life, I believe, until this world is caught up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it gives us most importantly, what the Bible does to me is give us the mind of God and what his expectation is for mankind.
Yeah.
And I believe if you stick to that, you're going to have success. Not that you're going to bypass suffering, pain that comes with this fallen world, but you will have, success.
Yeah.
That's my belief in it, in a nutshell.
If you made it this far into the conversation, I just want to say thank you for watching and thank you for tuning in. My name is TJ. And listen, if you haven't done this yet, I want to encourage you to do exactly what I'm about to tell you to do. You know it's coming. You know it was coming. Hit that subscribe button. Follow us on all social media platforms, whether it's TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, wherever you found us. You can follow us at We Are OneFaith on all social media platforms. When you subscribe to this channel, this YouTube channel, you'll get access to all of our content. Also, you can listen to us on your favorite podcast streaming platforms. Wherever you like to stream your podcast, you can find us. All you have to do is search OneFaith Podcast and you'll find us there. With your support, we are able to spread the gospel with your generosity. Just playing. With your support, we are able to make sure that our content reaches the people that it needs the most. And if you've been blessed by what we've been doing with OneFaith, I just want to encourage you to share it with somebody else. The more people you share it with, the more it helps us to spread the gospel and also to make sure that we reach that person. So thank you for watching. let's jump back into the conversation.
I'm at the point now, believe it or not, I do have mercy for a lot of people that believe a lot of things. I have grace rather and mercy, and show mercy to them. Not that the mercy is mine to give per se, but I'm just saying I do believe the Lord has compassion. I'm not the believer that I'm so important that I can lead you astray. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Meaning, that's more of a humble and humility approach, by the way. I just don't think that God would put that much stock into me to lead his very own astray. Jesus said it, my sheep hear my voice.
Yeah.
And they won't listen to another.
Yeah.
And so though there's individuals who you could get to follow you, those who God has called can't be plucked out of his hands. I'm of that belief.
Yeah. I think that comes down to influence. I think that comes
Agreed. Yep. Agreed.
Yeah.
Some people think too highly of themselves.
Yeah.
To where they think that they actually have the power, the end all or be all to give you a seat in the heavens. And no one does.
Yeah. Only God does.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I think I'm of the belief that God is ruthless. He's loving, he's merciful, he's gracious, but he also has a side of him that is wrath.
Oh, for sure.
That I think that we don't like to talk about a lot.
Exactly. Yeah.
I
it's
think,
like a non-negotiable.
Yeah. And I believe that that's how God is. So when it comes down to understanding and knowledge and faith and belief in this, it's either, I believe it's like this, it's either my way or the highway when it comes to God with that. Yeah. I think what saves us, what keeps us, what gives us an inkling of hope.
Right. Yeah.
It's Jesus Christ.
No, for sure.
Because he's the mercy seat. Like he's the reason why we are even able to be in front of a holy God when we die and leave here.
The Bible says it in the Old Testament, Deuteronomy, but obviously other books as well, that he's a consuming fire.
Yeah.
I think he's warning, I think it's Moses, I believe, who's warning Joshua to do all the things that, don't forget these commandments.
Yeah.
Because your God is a jealous God and he's a consuming fire. I'm with you. It is his way or the highway.
Because even when we look at Uzzah, like when David was bringing the ark back to Israel, back to the people of Israel, he had good intentions.
Right.
And Uzzah saw the ark was falling, went out to reach to grab it, but he died.
No, for sure.
I mean, and then people don't like to talk about that. But
that's a fact.
God is so ruthless and all
Moses
that stuff. But
doesn't get to go in the promised land.
Right.
Simply for disobeying God. But here's the catch. It's clear in the word of God that Moses is telling them, because of you, I can't go. Because I was frustrated with you not believing in the Father. I was frustrated with you complaining about where God had us. That caused me to be angry and disobey the Lord. Yeah. And God showing us there, that's another example. Moses is a big deal, bro. Yeah. I think people gloss over his walk. Yeah. Because of Christ, which is understandable. But when we talk about all the prophets, he's like, I don't speak to him, like he do with me and you in dreams and I wouldn't say riddles, but I will say in mysteries. Yeah. That's how he deals with us, right?
Yeah, he prophesies in part.
That's right.
He prophesies in part.
Well, he's like, Moses is faithful in all my house. I don't just speak to him in dreams and in parables per se. I speak to him face to face and have dialogue and conversation. Right. This is God's beloved. And he says no. Yeah. You ain't coming in. Yeah. And you had a reason.
And he had a reason.
And he had a reason to be upset and be mad. Yeah. And I think that says a lot about the Lord that we serve.
It does. And it doesn't take away the fact that he's merciful and he's loving and that he's kind, but at the same time, both can be true about God, about who he is. Non-negotiable, right. But at the same time, he's very merciful because not only did, Moses was not able to see the promised land, but, he still took Moses with him.
Yeah, he did.
You can't find Moses' bones anywhere.
Right,
so,
exactly.
There's that mercy that God has for people. And I think it's the same. But when it comes down to people that believe, intentionally believe wild things, about the Bible, I think God really comes down to the point where God is fed up with them with stuff like that. Like, I'm talking about reprobates in that way. Like, is there mercy for reprobates? I think mercy is always extended to everyone.
For sure.
If you repent and come back.
That's right. Yeah.
But most of these people, I know, it'll probably be in there, but it don't matter. But most of these people, they already set in their ways. Like,
for sure.
And have hardened their heart.
Yeah, there's no
and their opinion is straight.
Or like, humility.
No humility about it. And like, no matter how you try to... Because that's one thing the lady was like. She was like, well, if we could just be more loving and more... I was like, ma'am, look, I've tried all of that. I can come to them the same way that Jesus would come to them. Right. And you know what they would meet, how it would be met with? Yeah. Wrath, that's it. Fire, all this stuff. Because that's just their MO. That's just how they are. And I'm not just talking about Black Hebrew Israelites. I'm talking about like any reprobate
that's right.
that believes anything that's outside
half of their arsenal is discord.
Yeah.
And when I say discord, meaning is defense. Yeah. They come with the shield. You know what I mean?
Sword.
That's it. And that's it. Lift, stab.
Right. Protect. Right. That's it.
That's all. That's it. Protect. Right. Lift.
Right. And go.
You're there bringing them like, peace. They like, nah, we ain't trying to hear all that.
Right. And they ain't trying to hear that. And so for me, I think that, regardless of where people are, it's like you have to be that direct with them. You have to be that direct. It's fine. Right. You have to be that direct and that bold with them because of where they are. And I think that's just how God is. God is that direct and that bold in that way.
I agree.
To where he's not putting up with that. Like, you could come back and be with God all you want. Yes, that's great. He's going to always have his arms open wide for you. Like the prodigal son, all these different things.
Right. Because
you have to make that decision.
He allows, here's the thing, again, we don't talk about a lot. And we can't necessarily talk about it unless we're dealing with people who've experienced it. But God will allow someone to go through a cult, to go through wrong thinking, if you would, you know what I mean, in regards to who he is and who's saved and who not. Right. Just to utilize that. People. I believe that with everything in me. Is that everybody? No. But for some individuals, there are plenty of individuals that have come out, you can just a YouTube away. Yeah. Hey, I was in this. Here's what made me come out. God called me out of it. I seen the truth. Yeah. Here's why I went in. I come from church with grandma. Then, the enemy is very clever. And he'll play the skin game with you. That's what you got to be careful. Always warn them with that. Yeah. Like, hey, you got to be careful when it comes to the enemy using mind games to play with you and the circumstances of the world to get in your head. You know what I mean? Like the treatment of, obviously, what we can't dismiss, Black Lives Matter movements, etc. The facts that we do deal with, racism, etc. Those are all facts. However, the enemy will use that as an advantage to get you to believe and start thinking something that's not true.
Right, exactly.
He'll play with this earthly world, the tangible things that you think matter that actually don't. Right. In the grand scheme of things. The world is wicked regardless. Right. People don't understand that. It doesn't matter if Black people are the ones in authority or not. I think people tend to forget that there are other nations that are grimy. Yeah. Like ruthless. I really do. I'm like, y'all don't understand. This is a human problem. Yeah. Not necessarily a black and white problem.
Yeah, human problem.
Yeah, you go to predominantly African countries, there's good and there's evil. You go to Japan, there's good, there's evil. Here in America, being that we have this strong race issue because of the black and whites, we tend to think that if this was all a black country, we get along. That's not true. No. Black cops will be killing black people.
Exactly.
If it was all white cops will be killing white people. Yeah. It is a human heart condition that we're dealing with, a sin condition, better yet, versus an actual race problem. And that's what people get caught up on. For some of us, it's easy to see, at least for me. And again, I'm not condoning anything or turning my eye to all of it. I'm a real big advocate for equality, especially for us as African Americans. Same. However, I just can't let my skin become my idol. Yeah. Knowing that this is just a vessel. I'm black. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm black. That's what he saw fit for me. Right. I'm happy about it. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, it can't be an idol. No, it can't be an idol. You know what I mean? And I I have parts of me that is pro-black, but those parts that are pro-black that I feel I have or walk in doesn't deter me from the love I have for white, Puerto Rican, Chinese individuals at all. I got white best friends, you know what I mean?
Right.
But when I say pro-black, there's some things that I feel, you know, my people need to thrive from a confidence perspective. You know, there is some waking up that we need to do and realization that we do need. You know, Jamal Bryant does a good job at it with some things. You know, that could be what that brings me to what I was going to ask you. But that to me, I guess I'm saying this. At the end of the day, you can stand for principles. You can stand for love. God does love black people, but he loves every other nation too. Another thing, the Hebrewites, they just gloss over all nations.
That's it.
You can't erase it.
Right.
I know you get they would love to just go take every Bible and just to prove the point. I'm like, until you can do something with that, then this whole idea, there's some parts, again, I do agree with, and be clear about that. But until you can get rid of that, then you got to sort of go back and rewrite what you're actually pumping to the people. But God does send prophets and throughout time, throughout history. I do believe that Harriet Tubman is handpicked by the Most High to set her people free. Because it's not God's desire that we get treated. He does want equality. But in this sinful world, it's really not possible.
And I think people forget that they're like, because one of the arguments is, oh, well, you know, Christianity, white man religion, blah, blah, blah. But you also gloss over the fact that it was Christianity, it was the Bible that ended slavery, because it was some truth people that was like, oh, well, we taking this out of context. Like, this is actually not how we should be treating people. And that's how we got to the, you know, I mean, a whole bunch of other
I always point out how, like, what's one of my, you know, for someone that doesn't believe necessarily in the word of God, or maybe they believe that, you know, it's not inspired by the Lord, right? Whatever your beliefs may be, I always try to point that out, that book is that powerful. You know what I mean? That it can be used to enslave people. It's been manipulated too many times. It's going to continue to be manipulated. I'm clear of that. But when people bring certain nonsensical facts, that's a word to me, like the white man, I'm like, first of all, you're giving white people too much credit.
Way too much power.
Like come on, man. Like you're giving them too much credit. Like that shows me, you got some freedom. You know, like to look at those and actually, again, because then they get into the translation and all that. I'm like, hey, just let's stop there. If you want to address me about my skin and about my race, I'm gonna start there. I don't give white people that much power.
I mean, we can't.
I just can't. Like, I don't give them that much. In my case, reverence and honor that I give the word of God. I just don't think they're responsible for that. But if you want to think that, that's on you.
If you found us on TikTok, welcome. If you found us on Instagram, welcome. If you found us on Facebook or even here on YouTube, thank you. If you haven't done this yet, and you know what I'm about to say, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Follow us on all social media platforms at We Are OneFaith on all social media platforms. When you subscribe to this channel, this YouTube channel, you'll get access to all of our content. Also, you can listen to us on your favorite podcast streaming platforms, on all platforms where you want to listen to your podcast. I don't know. But if you want to listen to your podcast on Amazon, you can find us on Amazon. All you have to do is search OneFaith Podcast and you'll find us there. With your support, we are able to spread the gospel. With your generosity, just playing. With your support, we are able to make sure that our content reaches the people that it needs the most. And if you've been blessed by what we've been doing with OneFaith, I just want to encourage you to share it with somebody else. The more people you share it with, the more it helps us to spread the gospel and also to make sure that we reach that person. So thank you for watching. Let's jump back into the conversation.
I am a firm believer that every Bible-believing believer will not open their Bibles every day. And though God would love for them to, I don't think he's holding them accountable for not. I think it's more of a issue of you're missing out. You get what I'm saying? I think in a perfect world, that would be great. But it's not also a requirement for every Bible believing believer. As good as that word is going to be for you because it's your daily bread. But I'm not one to think that I don't want to say carnal Christian because again, that's a different thing. But there are truly believers that are just prayer warriors, even that don't necessarily dissect the word. That's a better way for me to put it. That everybody's not called to dissect it and to see the ins and out of these different things. It's just not their assignment, and God is okay with that. Like everybody ain't on the front line. Like getting stabbed when they lift up. Everybody ain't that ain't for everybody. You know what I mean? No, that's not for everybody. You know what I mean? I understand that. And I think that a lot of churches, by the way, lose people because you have to know that your calling isn't everybody else's. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
As good as that. It's again, and I'm not knocking it. Everybody should. I think everybody should dive into the word of God because it's going to bring forth that springing well of water within you, and you'll be able to do exploits, not necessarily from a material or social status perspective, but even to get through this journey, your storms in life, you know what I mean? Whatever they may be, that's what the word to me is for. Yeah. It's more of our daily bread, like I said, and it's the power and strength to, like it says, it's cutting down to the bone and marrow. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Help you pulling down strongholds.
I think there's some grace to that, but I think too, even like scripture says, like my people perish for a lack of knowledge.
Right.
I think God does hold us accountable to some extent to what we are able to know and learn on our own. And I think like when you look at, and I think this is why I think American Christianity bothers me so much, or Western, however you want to say it, bothers me so much because it's like we give so much grace for ignorance. And when I say ignorance, I'm talking about people that just refuse to open this book and read it and read through it and really learn this on your own, because we put so much stock in being taught by a pastor, being taught by people. And let's be honest, like not every pastor is educated enough to really dissect this and give you the truth. Like,
especially in a world where you can just become one, if you like, you know what I mean?
Right. Because like we were just talking about earlier, we ain't gonna name drop, but like we were just talking about earlier, it's like some pastors just get up and they just give stories and get people crazy, happy, excited, but they're not breaking this down to where they know they can get people based off of their influence and celebrityism alone. And that can draw people in. But to really dissect this thing and break this thing down, I think God does require his believers, us, to really know this thing. Because when we look at other countries and faith in other countries, and I think that one thing that we were talking about, even with like the Hebrew Israelites and different ones, I think those are like radicalized Christianity. I think it'll be a good term to put label on that. Yeah, radicalized. Because even when you look at, the Muslim faith, the Islamic faith, you see a lot of people that vehemently come against radicalized Muslim or radicalized Islam because they this is not what this is. Islam is a religion of peace and that blah, 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 and X, Y, and Z. Even though you can, debate and break down the Quran and say, well, no, this is what y'all believe. Y'all believe X, Y, and Z. People who don't believe in the Quran, shall be put to death and everything. Like that. Yeah. But I think that there's, when we talk about ruthless, go ahead and finish. That's what I'm like. Yo, I don't understand how people don't see the truth. With all the they want to call this nonsense. I'm like, if you hear some of these other religions and what they believe,
that's what some of my
I know
proof of it. I'm like, for a guy that went around talking about love thy neighbor, getting all this slack, I think you better look into that.
That's why he's a test.
Right, you talk about the white man wrote this, and the European or the Indian wrote that. It's like
you say that in them countries, you're gonna be thrown off of a mountain. You're gonna be thrown into a volcano.
Literally, that's blasphemy. Come on.
But we give so much, like I said, we give so much grace to ignorance because we allow that stuff.
Right.
We allow that stuff to happen. And I think that if we were to be more disciplined in our approach to this word, be more disciplined in how we learn, not just relying on what other people tell us. I mean, if they're reputable, if they can break this thing down and, you know, really teach, dissect and all that stuff, I think that's great. And we should be listening and hearing from them. But at the same time, we need to learn this for ourselves, because there's so many people that's going to lie and twist things to you.
Right. I do agree. I think even reading it to whatever level when I say everyone's not going to, God just haven't gifted them to see what some other people can see. You know, he said it. I'm going to give you pastors, preachers, and teachers after my own heart for a reason. Exactly. You know what I mean? So when I speak about that, I do think that there is a, especially in our busy society. So let's take away the fact that, because we are a weak, the Western world is a weak version of the body. I mean, following Jesus Christ. Let's just be real. Yeah. Like this
probably the weakest.
Like in a long time, like for real. Just to keep
if you put up the army, we would be like all the way in the back.
It's like, it's even on our phones and we don't even open it. Exactly. Like we don't even want to take 10 minutes to, again, just to learn, like when we were growing up, just to learn the basic, everyday strength scriptures. But there is, again, those individuals do have to rely on people that God has given us. You know what I mean? Collectively, no matter who we are. I mean, me and you both, I'm sure we listen to different people in different seasons, whether it even be us two, bouncing ideas and different revelations off each other. And I think that some people are of the belief that everyone should look like Paul. Yeah. And it's like, everyone should act like Christ. Yeah. I think that there's a basic part to the faith.
That's a good
point. And that is the fruits of the Spirit. That is taking Jesus with you when you're in a grocery store. That basic part of living this life out. The word now is gonna be what it takes for you to even operate like that, right? Yeah. But at the end of the day, it's not, I just have some people that, truly believe, like, they ain't in their Bible, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, well, wait, like, they do go to church every Sunday and go to Bible study every Wednesday too. Right. And they are intercessors, you know, they stay, their radio, not that it has to, but stays on a gospel station. Yeah. I'm just saying that there's a safety in that to me. Yeah.
There's also a level of ignorance with that, because, and I'm not saying that in a negative way, because like I've heard stories of people that, really want to learn this and dissect this, and then they'll go to their pastor and ask them a question, and the pastor's like, I don't know. Right. And so, and like that can be frustrating, because I've been in situations like that where I've asked my pastor, not currently, so Pastor Mike don't.
Right. With all love, Pastor
Mike. I'm just saying, right. But like, I'm just saying in general, like where I've asked questions to my pastors in the past and they didn't know the answer to it. And so I'm just like, well, how can we get there?
And that's okay. That's really okay not to know the answer. I'd rather, well, I'm not sure what they told you.
Yeah. As long as they, trust God. Read the Bible and trust God. That's it. It's like, okay. I really need to know.
You ought not know everything.
Right?
Like,
but we're not going to learn everything.
Right. Like stop it, man. Exactly. And, sometimes that is the right answer. But at least we should, it is the job for kings to seek a matter out and then for God to reveal it. I'm a big believer of that. Yeah. And I am, a steward of the words to that degree where I'm going to dig. Yeah.
And I think everyone should have a level of curiosity that way. Right? Like, I don't have a problem if you are curious about this and it may lead you to studying other religions and other faiths. I really don't have an issue with that. Right. My issue comes is if those things, or you're trying to blend and mix all of these things into one religion, which isn't isn't right. Because, like you said plenty of times before, even in prior episodes, like there's truth to all of these different things.
Yeah, exactly. You read the Quran has some deep, thoughtful things that I have read.
And it's good. I mean, these are good things. They're good practices. And honestly, these are some of the same practices and stuff that you'll find in all religions. I think it just boils down to, who you're serving. Who's the God at the end of the day? Who's the God behind these books?
That's right.
But when you are able to do those things, I don't have a problem with people who are curious, as long as their curiosity brings them to the truth. To me, I think this no matter what religion that you try to study or anything, it's going to always lead you back to the truth in this.
Yeah.
And that is the truth in Christ and who he is. Like,
it does. It seems to, especially being one that has knowledge on a lot of religions, right? Mm-hmm. Even the 400,000 Christian different denominations, right? That are literally like, it's a lot of denominations.
It's a lot of denominations.
I mean, across the world, you know what I mean? They all do seem to lead back to this book, you know what I mean? In some way, shape, form, or fashion. Not Indian culture. That's when we start to get towards the outskirts, and now they kind of rocking and doing their own thing. You know what I mean? They kind of like, they
have their own.
Yeah, they got like this. That's a different thing. But for majority, of course, when you talk about the Jewish and the Muslim faith, this is coming right back. This is still the centerpiece of it.
It's still the centerpiece.
It really is. Right?
Like the first 5 books of the Bible is found in here, and it's also found in what? In the Quran. So
I mean, the Torah, all of that is the base.
It's the
that's
base.
Right. That's
it's
right.
the base of everything.
That's right.
So that's why I say like you have to know this. Like it all points to this. Like even with Muslims and the Quran, they believe Jesus was a prophet, and then you have Jesus is the Son of God. So for anyone to say, and going back to a point we said earlier, for anyone to deny that Christ existed. So
that's just you're out of the game.
You're just out of the game.
And I'd rather you tell me you don't want to speak to me,
right?
Because I don't want to waste my time.
Right, I'm not wasting my time. If you're going to deny that, because now you're denying.
That doesn't make sense.
It doesn't.
Yeah,
it doesn't.
And when I hear that, I respect it because I respect everybody's thoughts and where they are. And, again, I think I've said it before, but I'm of the belief that sometimes God will allow people to wander that crazy mythical world
to bring them back.
To bring them back. So I wouldn't dare want to get in the way with that. But it's like, come on, man. Like, these things were established right before you.
So don't be mad if I tell you straight up, like you're going to hell because of your delusion.
Come on, man. It's
or if you don't know, if you can't come down to the basic facts of this stuff, then don't be mad if I expose it.
And I keep it basic with a lot of people. You got to read it before you can speak on it.
That part. A lot of people ain't doing that.
You got to read it before you can
That's
speak
why
on
I don't, and honestly, that's why I don't talk about a lot of other religions and a lot of other things. If I haven't studied it, I'm not going to speak on it.
Exactly. Right.
And that's not to me saying, oh, well, then you just say like you need to study and all this stuff. Yeah, I mean, when you have I have a minor in religion, so I have a good understanding of how all of the other religions kind of come into
correct. Yeah.
So I mean,
especially the 3 main faiths.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like Jews not believing that Jesus Christ, they believe that he's going to come back. They believe he's still coming, and when he comes back, he's coming like in power and riches, etc. And then obviously Muslims believe that Jesus was alive and he did walk the earth, but he was just a good prophet.
A good prophet, right.
Yeah,
and that's it. But
so it kills me when Muslims say that Jesus ain't exist. I'm like, well, then you're saying your whole
Bible, or your whole Quran is wrong. Like,
it kills me when they say that. I'm like, you made a mistake, and let's act like you didn't say that.
Right.
Let's just act like you didn't say what you just said. I've had to do that. I'm like,
you're denying.
I'm like, wait, like let's stop. Once you say Jesus is fictional and you are practicing the Muslim faith, you need to go back and read that Quran.
All right.
Because y'all believe that he walked the earth too.
Right. Yeah, I believe that he was there.
That's right.
He was right there.
That's right. That's a fact.
And so, I mean, there's just so many different things and nuances of that. So I'm like even going back to the 2019, but like going through all of that, dialoguing with them and then experiencing those Black Hebrew Israelites coming out trying to sow discord and all that stuff, getting everyone riled up and stuff. It's like by the time we made it into the building, it was like all of that stuff that we went through outside, it was worth it the minute you went in. Now I do, like, I'm not gonna lie, my heart does go out to the different ones that weren't able to get into the buildings or get into different spaces and stuff like that. I don't think that was intentional. I think that, it's just...
Yeah, I mean,
honestly, I don't even say it's poor planning. It's like you make an announcement and you don't really like put any marketing or anything behind it. You just make an announcement and say, hey, we're gathering for prayer. Right. And you're aware of your platform, but not really fully aware of your platform.
We got to give him grace. Give them
because
grace.
It was their first time doing something like that.
Right, exactly.
And so they're saying like, okay, when they initially put it out, 20,000 people signed up and said they were coming. So it's like, all right, well, let's just get the arena and we can, fit everybody in.
If you know anything about that, you don't even know if 20,000 going to come. They might sign up, but you might get half,
or a quarter of that.
That's right. Yeah. So
they just really didn't know. And then to put that out there and then 40,000 plus people come and show up. Like, okay, like that's overwhelming. That says a lot. So I mean, to me, just give some grace to that. But at the same time, it was just so beautiful to be in that room, because it was like, it reminded me of like, even like with our own life struggles, it's like we go through so much in our own personal lives and everything like that. And it's like, regardless of all the stuff that we go through in our own lives, it's like, once we keep Christ and God the main thing in the center of it all, like by the time we reach our promise, or reach the thing that he has promised and promised to bless us with, it's like all the other things that we go through don't even matter anymore.
And with that being such a success, just a yes or no, or you can get into it in a little. Just, I want to put this out there. What is it about when men of God do what we as believers, when God does through a man of God, what we request or ask for as believers, which is unity, which is a move of God, getting everybody on one accord? Why do you think, back to the church, we get these rebuke Pastor Mitchell, you know,
hating,
if you don't go there anymore because now you're worshiping him instead of God? What do you think that is?
I think it's twofold. I think one, is definitely demonic.
Is it a human condition?
Absolutely.
Like sort of like when you win in life, people just don't like seeing it.
It's like right. It's like the crab in the bucket mentality.
That's right. Yeah.
That plus, you hate and all this other stuff. I mean, we could get into
because
all of the details.
He's really, I mean, he's been in ministry for a while,
for 10 plus years, and it's like the last 3 or 4.
Yeah, he hasn't. I'm just saying he's relatively new to the scene,
right?
And I'm like, man, can you get a guy 5 years?
Right,
like get a guy a little time.
Give him some time.
I'm like, man, can he get a little time just to sort of get, do what the Lord is calling him to do without all the prophecies of, you rebuking, don't go to them. Like, dang, just because he does what Jesus promised that would happen, greater works will they do. You know what I mean? And so it's just, again, it's just back to that. I mean, for me, I'm just like, here we go, man. This is the part that people would like to disregard or overlook when it comes to being human. Like, no matter if you do if you're doing wrong, they're going to talk. If you're doing right, they're going to talk. And it puts us in a position as people that, like the spectators, you really just don't know who's who anymore.
Right. I think
according to what these, again, crab in the buckets, I'm agreeing with you, say. It's like, Dad, can bro get a little run?
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? He didn't even ask for that. He didn't ask for that.
I think for one that was there and seeing all the things, we didn't anticipate to have 4 seats. We were on the floor. Like, we were like steps from being on the stage, like where I'm at right now, where my refrigerator is over there. Like, that's how far we were from the stage. So we weren't anticipating that, but that was the favor of God. Thank God. And so for someone to see all of that happen in real time, to interact with them and all of that stuff. I even met the worship leader, incidentally, because my daughter had spilled water on the floor, and so I'm just looking for someone that
God prompts stuff you like he did the rest of them to go, and like has nothing to do with him.
Nothing to do with him. And so I ran into the worship leader, like asking him for a mop, not even thinking about that is who he is, and I was like, oh, you the worship leader? And he was like, yeah, and like we dabbed up. He was cool. He won't mean arrogant. Like, no, I'm the worship leader. I don't do none of that stuff.
I get it.
So I'm like,
just fed up with it,
you know what I mean? Yeah,
and I'm fed up with that. It's like, yo,
that stuff is not like that stuff.
Yeah, it's like, yo, like let's just deal with people.
Be humble
and deal with them on the fruit that they're bearing.
Yeah.
And so until you get whatever you get, and then that's another topic, because I don't believe that we should put people on pedestals because he shouldn't be looked at like he's not a human being anymore. Right. Like, not saying that he will have an issue or anything.
He'll be human.
In the event his humanity gets the best of him. Now everybody voices is validated. I said, this is a wild world. Yes, man.
This is the thing.
This is a wild world.
Because when we were, when I had ran into him incidentally, didn't even think anything of it. And, just how he was acting and everything like that. What was so dope about that was I could see the spirit of his pastor. I could see the spirit of Philip Anthony on him because of how he acted, how he interacted, how he was doing these things. Yeah. Didn't care that it was like he was in a stadium full of 20,000 people. Right. Like, you know, he was just, here, go find this person, this, that, and the third. And it was real cool about it. Like, for someone that is platformed like that, to have that humble mentality,
yeah.
That speaks to the pastor. That speaks.
No,
to
it does, man. It does.
Speaks to that person's character. So when I see on social media people trashing, talking about them, and these people in that way, you're really exposing your true motives, your true hand.
Mm-hmm. It's like, who's talking to you?
Right.
You know what I mean?
And how did you come up with these things?
That's right.
Like, a lot of people just blatantly lying. Like,
I mean, realistically, I don't even think he's everybody's cup of tea. For the most part, you know what I mean? Fine. Which shows to me the more authentic part about him. You know what I mean? Like, he's not coming. I guess what I'm saying, it's a good thing too, by the way. Yeah. I see his uniqueness, and I see his
genuineness,
authenticity. You know what I mean? Within his spirit, that he's being him. And here's the results. Yeah. That's the fruit that he's bearing. Yeah. Let him bear that fruit, man.
Got to.
Let him bear that fruit. Like, leave that man alone.
Leave that man alone.
Leave that man alone.
Give them grace. Like, they're new with all of this.
That's
and it's the same message that I give to, like, even my own, like, people at our church, because coincidentally, I'm one of the associate pastors, this, and different ones, but we went through a season of, when all the Charlie Kirk stuff went down, that our church, just people left.
Right.
But even with that, prior to that, a lot of people always talk about, like, oh, well, should they be doing this? Shouldn't they be doing that? I always have opinions about what the church should be doing, or what certain leaders should be doing.
You just can't make people happy, man.
Listen, and this is one thing I have to remind myself this too. Like, these are young people. Like, they're a couple years older than me. I'm talking about my pastor. I'm talking about the leaders of the church. Like, one of the other pastors, like one of the campus pastors, he's younger than me. So
like let's give him this grace to grow too. You know what I mean?
They've never been in this situation
exactly.
before. Like,
they're learning as they go, like every other human being.
And that's the level of grace that we have to give. Like, regardless. Like, and I think even that can be said true to even like seasoned pastors and seasoned leaders. Like, yes, they should know better. Yeah. Like, we should hold them accountable. Yes. But at the same time, there should be a level of grace, because they're just doing what they're taught. They're just doing and exhibiting what they've been taught, and that they're passing
That's why I just like to mind my business.
Period.
That's what I would say. I like to just mind my business, and I do what I feel the Lord is calling me to do. And if you do what the Lord is calling you to do and mind your business, everything will be just
work out.
Fine.
Everything will work out.
God is big.
He's bigger than that.
And he's not small from the perspective where we can box him in. He's doing different things in different people all around this wide, great, big world. Absolutely. And for some reason, people just don't understand that.
Absolutely. At all.
They don't understand that.
They don't understand it. But they'll get there. I pray they do.
Yeah.
Because even like with all of that, people be like, "Oh, TJ, when you start your church?" Like, bro, I'm not doing none of that stuff until God tells me.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, exactly.
And even then, like, are y'all going to show up because y'all barely
that's why you don't.
Yeah, right. Y'all not showing.
You don't want to listen to people when it comes to your church. Trust me, like.
Yeah, you like, all right, I'm gonna piss y'all off.
Yeah, exactly.
Say something wild.
Yeah, they ask you, it's like, well, when you come, just come to the house and get me. We'll go.
Right.
How about that?
Right, that's it.
Right, you do. So, you just got to be able to move. You have to move when God tells you to move, and you can't get caught up in what even God is doing outside of you.
Yeah,
you have to stay faithful.
You have to stay faithful in your own lane
to what He's calling you to do, and you nailed it in your lane.
Mm-hmm. That's it.
I
think, but going back to your point about Philip, like, I think a lot of people just don't know how to stay in their own lane with that, and just, recognize what took place.
That's right. Yeah.
Like, that's the first mass gathering of people like that, and it won't crazy. It was like peaceful. It was like I've shared, like.
No, I seen it, man. Exactly. Yeah.
I don't like being around a lot of people like that. Like, I hate going to the store. I hate going to Walmart.
Right.
I hate going to the mall because I don't like being around a lot of people. But to be in an environment like that around thousands of people and everybody's cool, like, I felt safe. Like, I was fine. Like, because everybody was on the same page. And we weren't wild. Nobody was acting crazy. Walking through the crowd, I had some tissue in my beard. Lady was like, hey, you got something in your beard?
It's like, a bunch of Christians.
Right. Like, it's a bunch of Christians, like, being nice. And,
right. Like, hey, you want me to tie your shoes?
Right. Right. Hey, are you hungry? Yeah, you're passing out. Like, oh, are you diabetic? I got this for you.
Right. Yeah, it's like heaven on earth. Right. Yeah, like you can feel the Spirit of the Lord there. On a serious note, though, I know, you know what I mean?
Literally.
I've experienced that in certain settings where, again, not to the magnitude of people, I don't think that large, but where everybody really be on one accord and you can get a good day with human beings.
Right. And it's like,
straight up, you really can. And it takes a certain leader and a certain, let me tell you, he would be the type to pull that off. Let me tell you why. Because he does come with somewhat of a fire brimstone message. He's not fire and brimstone to me. Don't get me wrong. Like when I listen to him, that's not his thing. Like he's not condemning people to hell.
He's just truthful.
He's warning though.
Yeah.
Now I will say that he is a warner.
He is a John the Baptist.
Yeah, he's definitely out there warning you. That's his job. You know what I mean? And he can't stray away from that. So to me, I guess he would pull that off versus, and again, this is not to say that other pastors, you got to do what you do. They're different lanes. But a Jamal Bryant, who's more of a political pastor, he's either going to bring, he probably could pull it off too because everybody's going to think like him. Jamal's not going to have a bunch of Republicans out there.
Absolutely not.
You get what I'm saying?
If they do, well, they're going to be like picketing and protesting.
Yeah, there's going to be literally on, it can get ugly. Now we talking about the world, you know what I mean? Because even people who believe sometimes put too much stock into political matters.
Yeah.
But I do believe that God does send people to work in that political realm too, which some believers don't believe. I'm like, listen, God got somebody for everywhere. He needs some people only gonna hear Jesus from a political Jesus believer. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? And some people are generally passionate about that. He seems to be, by the way. So, but to my point, he's probably not gonna have, and I'm not knocking it because I'm sure he can, because I'm sure there are a lot of Republicans and Democrats that put their political views aside for God. But if you get what I'm saying, you hear where I'm going, rather, there's some pastors, depending on what they preach and what they stand for publicly, that will draw people and get some sort of conflict. Yeah. Because Jamal, he out there rocking where he could be on some, heaven forbid, Charlie Kirk sometime, because he uses the pulpit to address those things, political matters. How do you feel about that? It goes on both sides. How do you feel about him doing that?
I mean, it goes on both sides because I've seen a lot of pastors on the conservative side the same way.
Yeah, I'm not mad at him for doing that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not personally. I mean, I personally hate politics in the church. So I mean, I vehemently go oppose all of that and everything. But to your point, God has someone.
Oh, for sure. I'm telling you. Yeah. There's lifers in prison. Yeah. They're called
for that.
They're called,
like,
they're
literally to get people in prison saved. I mean, I personally, I know that ain't my calling.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's one reason why God led us from our one of the churches that we were
at. Well, Jesus never said nothing. I mean, the first thing I think about, only thing that's somewhat political is him mentioning Caesar. Yeah. But outside of that, Jesus didn't focus on political matters.
He didn't focus on it that much.
He definitely has some references, but definitely not. It wasn't his concern. Yeah. But again, but again, I like to be clear about what Jesus' job is, and I think that sometimes people miss this when it even comes to Christ, right? Yeah. The ultimate, second Adam, like the real deal. Yeah. He stayed in his lane. Absolutely. He's coming to die for the politician. Yeah. He's coming to die for the thief. He's coming to die for the robber, the murderer, the church girl, the church boy, the rapper. Yeah. Jesus came to do a mission and get that thing fulfilled. And it's not that he would be against other people operating in those wavelengths, if you want to call it that, while standing for the gospel. But I like to be clear, he had a mission and he was here to do it. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. So he didn't have time for none of that.
Yeah. I think that it's a dangerous, to me personally, I think it's a dangerous game when we're playing with politics and faith. And I think that's where we are right now, because you have so many that's on far left and far right on opposite sides that have large influence. And it doesn't help that they don't have a great, image publicly as well too.
Yeah, and let me be clear for the record. I don't agree with Jamal Bryant some of the things he say. I'm just being honest. So it's not like I'm a Democrat at all. Right. You know what I mean? I think both sides have policies that are built for the wicked. And I, like you, my focus really is just about what I'm here to do. So, I watch and indulge just enough to be informed. Because I am in this world for this temporary time. And I feel that it's necessary, especially in times like we're in right now. But I can honestly say he does it gracefully sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, I listen. I used to listen to him all the time back in the day. This was probably before he really got really political. This was when he was up in Philly at Empowerment Temple. I used to listen to him then. But since he's been in Atlanta, I rarely listen to him much. But even with that, I think the reason why I don't really love the marriage of faith and politics is because of the fact that when you look at the Antichrist, he's a political figure, and a faith figure, and so seeing those two marry together, it just shows how people can be deceived and how people can easily be deceived, easily charged, easily in these things. And so, of course, the spirit of the Antichrist is already in the land, all these things and everything like that. But I think that it's very more prevalent now. And I'm not just saying that because Trump is in office or anything like that. I think it's just more prevalent now because of the spirit behind all of it that's taking place. Like even when we read in Revelation,
usher it in.
See these things.
I'm with you on that. That's a good point, by the way. Like this, those are more the realistic things to look for.
Exactly.
When you see the time is near.
When you see the time
not
is near.
necessarily calling out a date. However, like you said, if we are seeing more platforms, I mean, literally spending a whole sermon on political issues.
Yeah. That's dangerous.
That's a big deal.
Especially when you're not even bringing up scripture. I've seen sermons where you just start straight politics stuff, going straight political. You have political figures on the background of your screens and all that stuff. And then you give a couple of scriptures here and there to support your political beliefs.
Right.
That's dangerous to me. Like I've even seen politicians get up in the pulpit and preach politics, political agendas. With no scripture.
And go off on the party that they disagree with.
That they disagree with and all this.
It's like,
and
wow.
And then
like
the
stand for what you stand for. But biblically stay here. You gotta stay here. You can believe what you want to believe. I don't think honestly, when it comes to the Most High, I think it's neither here or there for him. Like he's like, well, when you get over here in this kingdom, you're neither. So what does it matter? But I'm with you on that. Like that's where it gets dangerous to me.
It's dangerous.
Whenever you can just spend a whole segment Sunday to Sunday to Sunday to Sunday.
Just talking about it at back and forth.
Because it's still a matter of the world.
And it's not to say that we can't talk about these things in the pulpit.
Not at all. Yeah, you can.
But when 90% of your sermon is about that and 10% is the actual word of God, or even less than 10.
Is that Jamal? I can't say it because I don't listen to him.
So
That's what I don't listen to him on a Sunday.
The sermon that went viral, I listened to the whole sermon. The one that went viral with him talking about Charlie Kirk. I listened to that. Honestly, that sermon was not political at all because he was teaching a new series about finances.
Right, okay.
To say that I agree with the subject matter of his sermon, that's neither here or there. And then when he hit that point about Charlie, to me, I was like, how did you even sneak that in there? Because your sermon's about finances. How do you even tie that in? But he put it in there, and then it got people going, and it went right.
Yeah, he's passionate about it.
So, I mean, I'm not like I said before, I'm not the one to be like, hey, he's a false prophet. He's this, that, and all this other stuff, because he's still God anointed, just like how
I don't even understand
how she's anointed by God. I believe everyone who has the influence on is anointed, but at the same time, it's all in about whether or not you.
Didn't we say this before? A false prophet is simply one who denies Jesus Christ.
But it's funny because remember last time we said that, like when I posted that, people were like, no, that is not a false prophet. A false prophet does this and has all the scriptural reference.
Because that's all. It's just what they're referring to are just people who lie and saying they're prophets.
Right.
that's what they don't understand.
That's it.
What you're talking about, those individuals who don't understand that.
Right.
You're just saying the people who proclaiming to be a prophet is not a prophet.
Right.
But a prophet is one that is denying Jesus Christ as the Son of God.
And we hit earlier, there's people that do believe that Jesus Christ did not exist.
Exactly.
And they're leading people astray through their deception.
Just from a biblical perspective. There are a bunch of prophets out there that be lying.
and that's it.
That's it.
That's what it boils down to.
That's what it is.
There's a difference between a false prophet and a lying prophet.
And so calling Jamal a false prophet on the pretense of Jesus Christ is false.
It's just false.
Yeah, he reps Jesus all the time.
Even like if we run down the list of people that talk about like false prophets, say Mike Todd is a false prophet.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, stop it.
Just because you don't like what they're preaching.
Yeah, that's it. That doesn't make them a false.
It doesn't make them a false prophet. Even if they twist the scriptures and say things certain ways.
Here's the thing.
That does not make them
you just don't listen to them.
That's it.
That's it. Maybe
just
God don't want you listening to him, and he wants you to listen to who he wants you to listen to.
And
maybe God's saying, hey, I need you to listen to TJ.
That's it.
Because TJ is going to speak to you about what I need you to do in the earth.
And that's it.
Leave them alone.
But people get so
it's annoying.
Like if you don't agree with them, then whatever. I mean, and I understand. Like I understand where a lot of people come from with the twisting of the scriptures and how people can take things out of context and things of that nature with the scriptures.
For sure.
So I will never deny that. But I won't say that they are leading people astray. They may be leading people to a certain version of the Bible that they believe.
You can't be wrong.
But you can't. Right.
Like you can be a real deal lover of Jesus Christ, the Most High. Pray, pay your tithes, read the Bible, whatever rules you want to check off as far as what a good believer is, and still be wrong. And I think, that doesn't make you a false prophet.
It doesn't.
And we live in a dangerous society now where they can find something you said wrong. Mm-hmm. Me and you with this video.
Right.
Yeah, we just. Oh, yeah, that was wrong.
Right.
My bad. Yeah, I did. I said, I'm sorry. That wasn't John, you know?
Right.
Yeah, that was actually
Because I confused Moses and
exactly.
Abraham all the time.
My bad. Yeah, no, bro, I've had it.
I've done that. Oh,
that was not Moses. Right. Abraham, like, bro, I
you don't know the Bible.
Right, yeah. It's like, chill out. It's not
going to be perfect.
Chill out. I know.
You know what I'm talking about.
But literally, you can have a pastor, a preacher, a teacher who's out of pocket pertaining their sermon.
Their theology.
You can.
It just and that's what it all boils down to. It's just theology.
Like, stop putting so much stock into people.
Yeah.
You know?
And learn this for yourself.
That's it. Like, and when we look at that, all of those leaders in there had gotten it wrong. Whether, like we were talking about, where Moses couldn't even go into the promised land. Everybody gets it wrong. Everybody's human. Everybody's heavily flawed. And it's just so dangerous. Your boy Pastor Mitchell, God bless his soul. Yeah. He's like he's the number one false guy now. It's like, get a man a chance, yo.
Right. Just because you couldn't get in the building, now he's a false prophet. Like, come on now. Now you're lying. And I think that's just the key, because it's just that difference between a false prophet and a lying prophet. There's people that lie, and I will not, and I do think that God deals with both equally.
For sure,
lying and false prophets equally, because the scripture says that.
Right. But who's lying and intentionally lying is the question.
Right. They're intentionally lying.
That's right. Yeah.
But they're lying because they're being taught. But
exactly.
That wouldn't even be considered lying to me. That would be more like ignorance.
Yeah, because some pastors and preachers and teachers, they do come out with some bogus stuff trying to prove a point with their congregation. It can be about tithes, and they'll just say something stupid.
Something real stupid.
It's like, bro, like, you're going too far, bro. Like, stop it. They'll just say something like, can't give to this, and if you don't die, you basically saying you don't want your own lights to be paid.
Right.
Like, chill out. Trust God. It's like, trust God. Like, stop trying to get your congregation to do, what you want them to do, and just rely on God. And whenever we see that with a bunch of pastors, I've seen it rather, who are really anointed and really called by God, but they get ahead of God sometime. And when we do that, you always more than likely are going to fall in a pit. And they tend to do that, but it doesn't make them a false prophet. That's the point I'm trying to get at.
I think that
so quick
majority of us are a lot of people are subjected to the spiritual abuse of our spiritual leaders, because they're projecting their spiritual abuse on us when it comes to bad and poor theology. I just think that is pretty much what it all boils down to. Right? It's deeper than just, oh, well, you know, this person is false because I don't agree with them. Even just because I don't agree with them, don't mean I'm going to disrespect them. Like, I don't agree with Jamal Bryant 100% of the time. I'm not going to disrespect them. I don't agree with a lot of preachers on 100% of the time, but I'm not going to sit here and disrespect them and downplay their title, downplay who they are.
That's dangerous.
That's very dangerous.
I think you might be asking for judgment towards yourself, to be honest with you, because the same measure you judge them,
it will be measured back to you.
That's right. So you got to be careful,
and you got to be wise and mindful. Because I mean, there's preachers I don't listen to this day because I just don't agree with them. But I'm not going to sit here and say that they're false. Like,
or that heaven isn't their home,
right?
You know, because you just have to give. You got to let God do the exposing, and that's what I tell people. Like, you know, I'm not too gung-ho on sniffing out who's real and who's fake, because I truly believe that some people know how to fake it really good. And you'd be really surprised if it's one of your people, one of your go-to people. But I'm like Paul, whether they do it for good or bad, the word is so powerful that it's still going to be effective. Meaning I do believe there are pastors that some we don't even know that's already came to this earth and left, had bad intentions, didn't even know Jesus was really who he was, preaching this thing as if they do believe he's real, getting the profit and gain, the lifestyle, the social status, the benefits of it, and were false. And literally God still used them to save his people.
Because God he's still going to use.
He's still going to use you.
His name stands greater than anything.
That powerful, right?
So So it was funny. Someone asked me a question. I'm gonna ask you, and I know we got to go, but I'm ask you because they asked me what did I think about Carlton Pearson, because his theology was he didn't believe in hell, and it shaped it and formed. He did at one point. Then he claimed that he had an encounter with God and he trust God.
I'm familiar with
and it. That that's why he believed what he believed.
Well, I hope he's right.
Yeah.
I tell you that much. When I've been asked this question, I'm like, well, I'm going to be honest with you. I hope he's right.
Right.
Because I don't want to see nobody go to hell. You know, I don't even want the thought of that, especially my loved ones that, I believe are in danger of that sometimes. I don't want them to go to hell, but it's not biblical.
So if someone preaches something like that, but they still preach Jesus.
Right.
Does that make them a false prophet?
No, no. I don't. I think that I wouldn't even put that out there because I don't know where he is.
Right.
And I don't know who he was.
Right.
It'll be yet to reveal. You know what I mean? I do know people who know him personally, though.
But based on the fruit,
no, I think that there's so many people that he touched. I mean, they're online. But I mean, good for you. You think you ain't going to hell? Wake up call. I think you're gonna get a real. You're gonna have a wake up call if you going by the Bible. You know, and I'm not the one that be putting people in hell. I'm just not that person. I don't put nobody in hell. Jesus never put nobody in hell, so I'm not gonna put nobody in hell. He described hell. He gave us stories, gave us visions. We've been in national teeth. Told us what we got to be in danger of, but he's never told nobody, meaning walked up to them and say, you're going to hell. So when you do that, you got to be real careful. That's real bold. And unfortunately, we come from a culture and a generation of people, believers, pastors, preachers, and teachers that do too much of that. You better be careful. When you point that finger, you better be real careful. So, I mean, I believe in hell. I think the Bible has too many
explicit
too many
truths about hell.
Like one-off situation scenarios where it shows hell exists. If you want to get into debate whether it's a state of mind, etc. Earth some days does feel like a form of hell. This is very same earth that we live in. But I don't think this is hell, like some people believe. So he felt God told him that. I don't think that. I can't trust that. Something told him that. But I do believe him. I do believe something told him that. But I don't believe, me personally, I believe that hell is there. And I got, my own beliefs about hell though. Let me be clear, but it's still there. So regardless of my beliefs surrounding hell, because I believe hell is real, then I believe the lake of fire is a different thing. I think those are two different things. And I can show you biblical stuff. We can get into that combo. Maybe one day we'll do that. But To answer your question, I still think he was effective. I still think God used him. And luckily, like you just mentioned, Jesus is so powerful and the message of the cross is so powerful that if you can go your journey with not having that on your back and feeling the heat, then that's good. As for me and my house and my children and whoever going forward, I'm going to just show them what the Bible says. And there is a consequence, for our actions on this earth. And, hopefully no one believed that and thought that they could live any type of way. Because I think he wasn't necessarily saying you can live a certain type of way, which made me back up off him a lot. Because he wasn't saying you can do what you want to do. But he was just saying that a loving God, don't have a hell that's a plan. I think he was saying basically it's like a made up thing throughout history and time. And I'm like, nah, that's not.
I think that, I definitely think hell exists. I mean, and I even to the point where when we look at, like we talked about the Antichrist earlier, the spirit of the Antichrist. When we look in Revelation and we see the Antichrist at play, what is the main reason why, hell even exists in Revelation in that point? It's because the Antichrist rises up and said that he's God, that he's Christ, and that people should believe in him.
Right.
And he deceived many to believe in him. So, and if these people that he deceived, which is influenced by the same spirit of Satan, all that stuff. Right. And these people are going to hell, then what does that tell you about who's going to hell and who's not? It tells you that people who are going to hell are the people who deny Christ.
That's right. That's simple.
False prophets, like we talked about.
Right.
And that's pretty much what it all boils down to. I mean, I think I remember even Mike Todd had mentioned that and people got mad and was like, oh my gosh, what are you talking about? Because I think he had mentioned, not saying that he was against the idea of hell or anything like that, but he had mentioned that pretty much people who go to hell are people who just deny Christ. And that's, I mean, because essentially that's really what it boils down to when you read this book and you really get to the bottom of it.
Because
when you choose
to make
sin and all this stuff, like it's really when you choose that more than Christ, or
somebody's got to pay.
Yeah,
and it's going to be either the cross or hell. That's it. One of them two. This world, this life is about cause and effect, and there are consequences. Somebody, either you're going to pay by going to hell, or you're going to put it on a cross, and the cross is going to pay for your sins. Somebody got to pay.
Right. You want to get this right.
That's all it is.
Either way,
you're going to get this work.
You're going to get this work.
Literally, you're going to
one way or the other.
Believe it. Yeah, that's my belief, and I'm clear about that. I don't get into the nuances of who's going, and I probably, again, I don't want nobody. I'm Abraham when God's like, yeah, we about to blow this whole joint up. He's like, even if it's 1, 2, that's my heart.
Right.
That's me. I'm like, Lord, I'm trying to Lord, have mercy like you had on me. You know what I mean? I'm that individual though.
But just as you said that, and that's why, you said that, and it just made me think, like, because people deny that Christ was even in the Old Testament. It's like, that is an example of Christ being even in the Old Testament, because that he would search all over just to find one who believed. That shows grace and mercy.
I do believe that these are good topics too, by the way.
I know, right?
Like, even Christ being in the Old Testament, there's a lot of metaphoric stuff. The blood, the post on the lamb with Moses. But I also want to say, I believe that God in his foreknowledge, people still were getting into paradise then by Christ. I do believe that because it was based basically on righteous living, not perfection. And it's never been. Yeah. And that's what we have to realize. I always try to tell people that, well, don't let the order of God's redemption for mankind make you miss the fact that his mercy and love has endured since the very beginning. Yeah. That makes sense? I think that there are more people, the cross allowed for more people to be engrafted and come in. But that same, when we talk about the rich man and Lazarus, it was simply about righteous living. Yeah. The poor guy, the poor man at the gate that the dogs was licking his wound. This is the mental health issue that you see at your light that a lot of believers are going to say going to hell because they strung out or they're addicts. That's really what we're looking at right there. He's at the gate and the rich man is just walking by him like a lot of people do these days. Yeah. You're too good to give somebody. You don't even want to look at them. They could go work. Yeah. All right. Yeah. But at the end all and be all, when there's somewhere you're not,
yeah.
I'd rather spend my life as a panhandler and go to heaven when I die than have some big social rich status on this planet and go to hell when I die.
Yeah.
I'm clear about that.
Yeah.
I would rather, as painful as I don't want to spend a day under a bridge.
Right.
Neither do you. That's why we're here.
Right.
I like turning on the lights. I pay the bill. So I do that. Sure. But I would much rather, when it's all said and done, you know how life is I tell my boys this all the time, my kids rather, life is long until you get there. Then you realize it's short.
Yeah.
Once you turn 12, you're going to be like, where did the years go? Right. So don't let this life in the time of this, what would I call this, what word am I looking for? Forget it. Don't let the time in this realm, that's the word I'm looking for, fool you.
Yeah.
It's going by fast.
It's going by fast.
And I always point that out when it comes to Christ. He's throughout the whole Bible.
The whole Bible.
And he's been everybody's meal ticket.
Yeah.
He's true. That's why Isaiah's speaking about him. Because God would just end this thing if he didn't have an answer. But he had an answer, which was Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Which is go back to our point in the beginning. It's like, God, I feel like people don't like to talk about the wrath of God, the fierceness of God.
It's real.
Because when you talk about that, people are scared.
Yeah.
Like, and it brings
and we
fear.
should be to a certain degree.
There's a fear there's a fear component that you should have with reverence to God. Now, you need to be afraid, yes, but you also have to reverence him too.
Right, because fear of the Lord is the beginning of all wisdom and knowledge. Exactly. Let's be clear about that. But, I do think there's a difference in having a relationship with him and understanding that you're going to be on his good side. That's what I like to believe. He's done enough for me to believe that, for me, my reality of God is so real. Right. Ain't no running from him. I understand what David said. If I make my bed in hell, he there. If I go, he is everywhere for me. Ain't no running for him. So, I ain't ready to see him until he ready to see me. That's it.
I ain't ready. I ain't trying.
Nah, I'm still undone.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. No, that's good. Yeah. I forgot I had opened my Bible to Jeremiah 7 because we were talking about lying prophets because I was or lying prophets and people using lying words. That was one of the points that I had just taught my prayer team about that because one thing that the Lord has been showing me in this season is just the heightened level of deception and just how much deception is in the land. Like even like going all the way back, and I know we can end it after this because we're gonna go into another whole conversation. It's all love. Yeah. And she tired. But even with like the whole NLE thing and like even seeing like the Charlie Kirk stuff and then even seeing like all of these things, it's like there's like heightened levels of deception. And it's like we have to be aware and on guard of what's taking place. Like, and we have to know this word and we have to know like when people are just blatantly lying about stuff and when people are really telling the truth. And one thing that stood out was like Jeremiah 7 and this is why I say God is ruthless, because like even Jeremiah 7:16, like God was telling Jeremiah, he was like, do not pray for these people, talking about people who are lying. Like,
that's right, yeah.
Don't pray for them. He's like, don't pray, lift up a cry or a prayer for them, nor make intercession for me. He said, because I will not hear them. I will not hear your prayer.
I don't want you to waste your time.
Right. Don't waste your time. Like, do you not see what they do in the cities? Like, to me, like that, reading that shows me like, I brought this up to my prayer team and I kept telling them, was like, can you imagine just how far gone you have to be to really upset and angry God?
Yeah.
To the point, or anger God to the point that he's like, don't pray for them no more. Like,
right. And I think he knows something obviously that they didn't know and we don't know about certain people, which there is no redeeming.
Right.
That's just the truth. And that's why we don't waste our time.
We can't save everybody.
You can't just say shake your feet off and keep it moving. I'll send somebody else if they're redeemable. You got to go though, because at the end of the day, there's some people who just never going to get it. And when you're a young believer, I think you can get into those little quarrels and arguments and pushing matches. But as you mature, you get straight to the point. Like, all right, little bruh, you did you read the Bible to make that statement you just said? Right. Because that's a whole opening up Jesus Christ, the Son of God, anywhere on this planet. That is a big deal.
Yeah.
And he did not know that.
No.
Straight up.
And I find that interesting because everybody is like, when people talk about God and talk about, having a relationship with God and to an extent deny Christ in that way, it's like they always point to references of in the Bible. They always point to stuff in the Bible. It's like, so where's the disconnect?
I would say this real quick too, as far as little bruh, like, you gotta have grace for him. He's young, man. And, he just didn't know. He really thought he was about to say something.
Honestly,
he thought he was.
He thought he was about to say something deep, and everybody was like, no. I'm like, hey, it's a difference between reading and comprehension.
Like, yo,
you're not comprehending this, bro. Like, you're reading it, but you're not comprehending.
You really should figure out who this guy you just spoke on is,
and then realize why people worship Jesus.
Oh my Lord, yeah.
Because without Jesus, he would not have a chance at seeing God.
And hopefully he comes into that. In fact, I pray he does, and more than likely he will.
I believe he will. Yeah, I think the curiosity is there, and he's young enough
that he was at that table.
Place.
That's right. Yeah,
but I think that for other people that like are coming out in the woodworks, the deceiving folk, oh, he's onto something because they're like, oh, look at Council of Nicaea and all this. Whenever people bring that up, it just angers me to no end because I'm like,
I just listen.
That's all you got at this point.
Just to see if I'm gonna hear another
something new.
For you to tell me something new,
right?
So, because I'm gonna go look. If you give me something new, so I can go look at it and
something
then,
new.
Yeah, and
like every comment, every
don't
person,
bring me right back to Christ.
Thing. Yeah. I'm like, all right.
I'm waiting for you to bring me back. Now I want to see. Bring me back to not Christ.
Right.
Show me.
Bring me back something.
Bring me something that ain't gonna lead me to Christ, and I'm good.
And they're not. And because they don't know the truth of what took place at the Council of Nicaea, and they don't know that it was a man that was deceiving folk, and they deemed him as a heretic. And so that's why they wanted to get together to clear things up about who Christ was and the existence of him and all this other stuff. Like, the Bible was not canonized
for you to be telling me I'm believing in a fairy tale and he didn't exist. Why do you believe that?
Why do you believe that?
Yeah, right. That was 1,000 years ago too. Right.
He's here. Like, come on now. Like, so I mean, for me, that's why I got out of debating and talking to people about this stuff, because when people are really genuinely curious about things and want to know the truth, versus those who just want to argue.
And when you are, I like debating for real debaters, though.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to really debate, like talk.
Pull up the facts.
Let's talk.
Let's talk.
But if you come in with,
like, no, Jesus lied. All right.
Yeah, and it's like, well, when the last time you picked up any literature?
Right.
Most of those individuals, believe it or not, haven't picked up any literature.
At all.
At all.
And it was funny because the dude was like, this guy, he was like, yeah, I spent 30 years of learning. It was like, oh, you've been just learning the wrong thing for 3 decades. Pretty much. Like, I mean... there's no way to turn you away from this because you're standing on something that you learned for 30 years.
If you were in 30 years, you should come back that he existed, and maybe he's not the son of God to you. I respect that.
Yeah.
But I don't respect that you're saying he doesn't exist. 30 years of research.
Or saying that he lied and saying he's a character. Come on now.
Stop it.
That's dumb. That's ignorant. And I'm not entertaining that. Like, because I did have a conversation with one guy, and it was actually pretty good because he denied the Trinity, which is another good topic to have, right?
Yeah.
He denied the Trinity, and I backed him into it because he was like, well, it was like blah, blah, blah. He was like, well, the word logos means this. And then he realized what logos mean, what logos was. And I was like, well, you're saying the Trinity. You're making my point for me.
Be careful.
It was like John. So it was like, so John 1:1 and all that. It was like, it breaks it down there. It breaks it down there. He was like, well, God existed yes, God existed in the beginning. Like, in the beginning, God. That's it. God existed way before time and existence and all that stuff. So there's, like I said, topic for another day. But
good stuff,
these things people are just deceived.